What's up, Archons? I'm Flightless Pheasant, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about the wrap-up to the Aember Skies Gamefound. I intended to do this yesterday, or maybe even Monday, because I got back from the Rochester Vault Tour. Expect the synopsis video on that sometime this week. But anyway, I got back from that Monday, but I had other obligations. And then yesterday, there was a big tornado in my area. I'm fine, but the FedEx shipping center isn't. So, yeah, that was a thing. But now that I have some time and there's not a major weather disaster, I wanted to go through the wrap-up of the Keyforge Gamefound. This did wrap up midnight Central Time on Monday night / Tuesday morning. So it's been wrapped up for a couple days now, but I wanted to take a look and see how we did. So you'll see here our final funding was 450,000. That's pretty good. I'm pretty sure Grim Reminders was over 60,000, and obviously Winds of Exchange was like 3 or 4 times as much as we did for this last one. But Winds of Exchange isn't really a fair comparison because we were doing a saving Keyforge thing, so. And there was one stretch goal that we didn't reach, but that they did announce that I haven't talked about yet, and that was the Flight of Tokens stretch goal, which basically, if we'd reached 600,000, everybody would have gotten 2 extra decks, one of them being a normal Aember Skies deck, and one of them being a Tokens of Change deck, which some of you will remember that the 400,000 stretch goal did include receiving a Tokens of Change deck for everyone, which we did reach 400,000, so we are going to each get the Tokens of Change decks. Honestly, these stretch goals are a little underwhelming, or at least the highest 2 are, right? These first 3, I pretty much, well, I'm not saying I expected Tokens of Change, but like, Tokens of Change is pretty much taking the place of Menagerie, the Sky Beast decks are taking the place of the Revenant decks, the Glimpse of the Future was there last time, and that's how we knew Aember Skies was coming. So these were pretty stock standard. These 2, not so much. And I was really hoping for a new adventure, something Prophetic Visions themed, but apparently they just didn't have that ready to go. So that just wasn't a thing. And the other thing I want to talk about is the very last update they gave us before the Gamefound ended, which is the Super Key. And if I'm honest, I feel like the Super Key could have been a stretch goal and not just been a thing they included. But let's go through the article. We'll talk about it. Tell me what you think. But I think this would have been, a better stretch goal than like the Living Triumvirate at the very least, if not better than just one more deck of 2 more decks, one of Aember Skies and one of Tokens of Change. But let's take a look. So about the Super Keys. This is the last article they posted on the Gamefound before it wrapped up. And there'll be more articles on here, but they're going to be when they launch the Pledge Manager, and they'll give shipping updates and things like that. So we will still be talking about this, but I think we're going to be done talking about it for at least a little while they wrap up things on the back end. But anyway, so a key to rule them all. We've been working on a new vault key, and it's super. All right. Since we first started work on Winds of Exchange, Ghost Galaxy has explored and continued to explore ideas for items we could offer avid players to augment their Keyforge games and lifestyle. Many card games provide an array of promo cards, foil cards, alternate art cards, and such, but the unique deck nature of Keyforge forestalls such traditional enhancements. While we considered tokens, sleeves, mats, which we've all done, and silly Keyforge wear concepts, we placed most of our efforts on the 3 totemic pieces that are especially representative of Keyforge. Vault keys. I like this art, by the way. I don't know what this art is from or for, but I like that a lot. I actually hope that I really hope that shows up in Aember Skies, because that's got a very in Aember Skies feel to it, to me. We brainstormed a great deal of concepts, materials, and moving parts to allow that inexorable turning of the keys game ritual to be represented in a fun and tactile way. Many interesting ideas were prototyped and lounged about Luke Olson's desk for months. Luke is the head of Keyforge game developer. Yep. some early prototypes of some different things. We ultimately landed on a one-piece design reminiscent of a traditional Keyforge vault key. Inside, each colored key is represented by a spinnable disc that marks game progression and color selection. The inner disc keys are held in place by pins. We had started calling the concept the Super Key, and the name stuck. Will Springer, the Ghost Galaxy graphics designer, worked on integrating the traditional circular taloned geometry that is the visual mainstay of all vault keys, and fine-tuned the position and angle by which the rotating inner keys would match the design on either side of the Super Key. And our artist, Scott Schomburg, gave us the final visual interpretation of the Super Key in gorgeous vintage copper. The result is spectacular. Yeah, see, this thing looks kind of cool. This is what I'm talking about, right? This would have made a really good stretch goal because it's neat, it's interesting, it gives somebody something to reach for, but instead they decided to just kind of give it to us with any of the higher pledge tiers and as a add-on, which is not a bad thing by any stretch. You know, it's good to have more access to these things, but I feel like this could have been a stretch goal in this campaign and an add-on in future campaigns, because this is the kind of thing that I feel like can make a satisfying stretch goal. But maybe I'm alone on that. You know, tell me down in the comments if you've got a completely different opinion. Then that's totally valid. But that's my opinion of it anyway. All right, let's finish out the article. They've got a little video. They're going to show us how it works. So let's make sure we get through all of that. A player would start a game of Keyforge with the Super Key in the 3 unforged positions, and then rotate each interior disc of a chosen color to mark each forging. Here's a video that shows the Super Key in action. Let's take a look. All right, so you can see the little bits spin independently, and they're each on pins. And you can see it actually fits really cleanly front and back, the design does, with how they spin, which I imagine was not easy to do, because getting that rotational symmetry can be very difficult. All right, so then they also have, for Keyforge Aember Skies, a Super Key will come with each pledge above the breaker level. We can't wait to see the delightful contraptions on your gaming tables. Note, the Super Key images and rendering shown in this article are concept illustrations. The final product may differ from that shown here. So yeah, this is cool. It's very neat. I don't know. I don't know if it's the most exciting thing, but I feel like it would have been, you know, more interesting and more exciting for everyone, you know, because it's this thing we would have all gotten, especially than the Living Triumvirate. And I feel like that last 600 stretch goal was a little underwhelming for $600,000, especially since, you know, we only just got over that with Grim Reminders, and we had better stretch goals then. I would have loved an adventure, but it looks like we don't have one ready. Hopefully my desire for all of that will be assuaged or satisfactorily addressed when we get the summer event announcement, which, while I was at the Vault Tour, I managed to bug Chris a little bit about that, and he said we should probably be expecting that sometime soon. So awesome. As soon as we get that announcement, you'll definitely hear from me. And there was one last thing I wanted to talk about vis-a-vis the Gamefound, and that is we got a bunch of different articles, but never did they address Stratoflight, what it is, how it works, and if it's even going to be in Aember Skies, which I find surprising. It seemed like it was going to be like a really core mechanic, and at this point I'm wondering if maybe it got scrapped entirely and is just not going to be in the set, or if they're just really holding back on it. But I think maybe it just got scrapped, which is why the Sky Beasts don't have it and the ships don't have it, even though the Sky Beast and ships are both there. Additionally, we didn't see any creatures with the Sky Ship trait, which one of the upgrades that they previewed for us mentioned the Sky Ship trait as being a thing that it needed to have in order to be enhanced with this. We saw a lot of things with ship, but nothing with Sky Ship, so I wonder if that also got scrapped, if they were just working with Sky Ships and Stratoflight as an idea and decided that House Enhancement Pips was enough on its own and that they didn't need these other things. To be perfectly honest, frankly, I think I disagree pretty wholeheartedly. House Enhancement Pips sound interesting and are probably going to be good for deck efficiency and things like that, but Stratoflight sounded like a more fun mechanic, at least to me. I don't know. Some people are going to really go ham on House Enhancements, but for me personally, I have strong worries about how well that's going to balance in the game, and I was much less worried about Stratoflight or even just giving things the skyship trait. I don't know why that would have been a problem, and then having skyship synergy. I don't know. But I'm not part of the testing team. I don't know what the R&D looks like. Maybe there were bigger problems than I can see, but I wanted to point those two things out because, you know, I did do a whole video breaking down all of the preview cards that they sent us with Grim Reminders, and those were two things I was looking for, and I did not see. And if you saw them and I didn't, let me know down in the comments. But yeah. Side note, I am going to be putting out a video on my Vault Tour experience, maybe as early as tomorrow. I have some footage I got to put together. I have some things I want to talk about and some descriptions I want to go through of things that happened. But it was fun. It was a blast. I'm looking forward to doing San Antonio. I'll do something very similar for San Antonio, or at least I intend to. Big shout out to everyone in the Michigan area Keyforge Game Den. Big shout out to Archons Corner and Tabletop Royale and Help from Future Self. They were all there, and I got to talk to some of them. I even got to spend some time with a good selection of people and the Ghost Galaxy team. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. Chris was there, got to talk to him a little bit. So I'll have a whole video on that though, so don't worry about that. But yeah, this was the wrap up of the Gamefound. Less than we got for Grim Reminders. I feel like the stretch goals weren't quite as good, in my opinion. I feel like the value wasn't bad. I really like the idea of tokens of change. I've got a video coming where I'm going to be talking a little bit more about tokens of change. I also did not forget I will be putting out Houses of the Crucible Sanctum sometime soon. I'm just getting settled back in, and you know my getting settled back in was interrupted by a big tornado, so that kind of threw me off a little bit. But anyway, that's all I have for you today. So until next time, later, Archons.